Should hit it with frost ammo.
You want to have a go at me?
Okay, we found nothing, so let's go back.
Don't do that. Now I'm itching for a scuffle. Tired of this cold.
Let's give it up.
Where's the fire? I need to get warm. My mistake. Thought I saw something.
Okay.
out here.
Into the ground here.
The rebels got some heavy gear. They must be in charge.
Stay sharp.
I should check for tags.
You've made a huge mistake. Let's do this! I think she's gone. I will tear you in half when I find you. Can you hear me? I'll go easy on you if you show yourself. You best lay low. The things I'm gonna do to you.
You could fire at anyone traveling down the mountain from this spot. No wonder the rebels set up here. Coast is clear. Let's hope it stays that way. Tags. Just like I thought. Dooku will want to see these.
keep your eyes open out there, soldier.
Next time, right?
The old ones use holograms for everything.
It let them experience a great many things.
Holograms are illusions, though. I wonder if at some point they just couldn't tell what was real anymore.
Maybe. They were intelligent, but that doesn't mean they were wise.
Ha! So, we're fighting immortals from the stars now? Looks like it. What's next?
Welcome back. I like this one.
Hello, Aloy.
Hey, Gaia. So, me and Beta. I guess you heard what happened.
Yes. I am continuously impressed by the complexity of human relationships. Despite the unpleasant circumstances that led to your quarrel, I am pleased to see you have both found an agreeable resolution.
Well, 2 heads are better than 1, right?
Yes, I believe so. Are you ready to depart for Cauldron Gemini? Or we can continue our conversation, if you like.
So, about Beta. I never really saw the difference between us, until now. She's been through so much. Completely alone.
You have both endured many hardships. Different in almost every respect, yet equally remarkable. I like to think of you as 2 miracles, born of Elizabeth Sobek.
3, then. Let's not forget about you, Gaia. How's Kotallo doing?
Since his return from testing his arm, he appears to be more at ease with himself. I have examined the arm's fitting to ensure optimal use and comfort. He should be well equipped to face the battles ahead.
Good. He was already a tough fighter. How are things around here?
Zoe continues to monitor the status of her land gods. The receivers appear to be functioning properly. As a result, Plainsong should see a gradual increase in viable crop production.
Good. It'll keep them from starving. At least until we fix the biosphere. Varl and Zoe seem to like spending time together.
Indeed. While studying Old World data, Zoe discovered references to a dietary lifestyle known as vegetarianism. She appreciated the similarities with Utaru practices and encouraged Varl to try out this lifestyle.
And how did that go?
I believe they have agreed to disagree.
How's Erend handling things?
He is becoming increasingly accustomed to use of the focus, after an initial incident.
What did he do?
He unfortunately crushed his first focus as he attempted to affix it to his temple. Amongst a number of Oseram curses, I believe he also blamed the focus for being dainty. He has given repeated assurances that it will not happen again.
Well, good thing we have a lot of extras, I guess. So there's a few people here now, and they're learning. All about you, the ancient world. Almost like what was supposed to happen before Apollo was purged.
Yes. While the loss of the Apollo database was catastrophic, there is still much that can be gleaned from the data you have uncovered. For instance, Varl has been reviewing the last recorded entries from those who perished during the Pharaoh Plague. Hearing their hopes and fears made him quite somber.
Anything I should be worried about?
I do not believe so. I have elected not to intervene, to allow him to process this on his own terms.
All this data I've picked up in ancient bunkers and ruins. I guess I never really thought that other people would be looking at it.
Based on my observations, your companions engage quite frequently with this material. Erend has asked on numerous occasions about birthday parties. He appears perplexed by the tradition of serving a sweet confection, as it conflicts with the Oseram tradition of serving sparkling stout ale. He also suggested we host a party for you, as a surprise.
Yeah, no thanks.
That is what I predicted.
Is Kotallo getting along with everyone?
Yes, though he prefers to spend most of the time alone. He appears to be collating data on war machine progression and significant battles during the Pharaoh Plague, to aid in the creation of a war map of Operation Enduring Victory. I believe he aims to study the tactics of old world warfare.
I'd be interested in seeing that.
It appears to be a private pastime for him. He has repeatedly declined my offers to assist his research.
How's Alva settling in?
As soon as she arrived, Alva was eager to study the data in the archive. A particular file soon caught her attention. Information about a machine assistant devoted to keeping living spaces neat and orderly. I informed her that once I am empowered with the abilities of Hephaestus, I may be able to design such a machine.
I'm sure she'll like that. When I set out to find a way to bring you back, I never thought we'd be here, like this. Among friends.
They have all come a long way with their improvised educations. Varl has suggested that one day we might extend this model to more tribal inhabitants, once the biosphere has been stabilized.
Yeah, that's not such a bad idea. As long as you're the one running the lessons. So now that you have Aether, Demeter, and Poseidon, how's the biosphere looking?
In the local region, conditions have improved. Superstorms have subsided. Water sources have been purified, and soil conditions remediated. These improvements will stave off environmental collapse for a few additional months.
Well, with luck, soon you'll have Hephaestus. Then you'll be able to fix the biosphere for good, right?
Correct. I will be able to design and produce robotic agents to permanently reverse the environmental damage that has accumulated.
So our plan to capture Hephaestus. Let's go over it again.
As you wish. Thanks to Beta's test, we now know that Hephaestus will not respond to your Alpha clearance.
Which is why I got Ted Pharaoh's Omega clearance.
Correct. While you were gone, Beta constructed the transport rig and pulse generators. When we get to Gemini, I will need to be installed on one of the facility's cores. The second core is for Hephaestus. Using Omega clearance will allow you to trap it.
And then you'll be able to absorb it.
Not quite. You will need to manually remove Hephaestus's malicious code before the merge.
How long will that take?
Because the work will be split between you and Beta, it will take approximately 4.5 hours.
And during that time, the others will create a distraction for us using the pulse generators, right?
Correct. They will each take position at a cauldron door and fire off their device. The energy surge should mask our activities until the merge is complete.
And then we'll have everything we need to defeat the Zeniths. Sounds like a plan. There's something I've been wondering. How could Ted Pharaoh create a clearance level higher than Alpha? Elizabeth made sure he wouldn't interfere with the project.
It is plausible he tasked his own engineers with creating a back door to the Zero Dawn system, without Elizabeth's knowledge. My predecessor did not even know of its existence until he activated it to purge the Apollo database. It is, in effect, a blind spot, one that will allow us to subdue Hephaestus.
So the Hades Proving Lab, where I found the Gaia kernel. It used to be a Pharaoh research facility?
Yes. Prior to appropriation by Zero Dawn, the facility was used to engineer and test advanced computer viruses. It appears to have been one of many research initiatives by Faro Automated Solutions.
I guess it wasn't enough to build automated killing machines. He wanted viruses to infect them with, too. So, a while back, before the battle at Meridian, I went into Banuk territory. I discovered another AI there, one not related to Zero Dawn. Cyan. It was created to oversee operations for a volcanic stabilization project, and it spent the last 1,000 years in isolation. I'm guessing you didn't know about it?
No. From the data on your focus, it seems that Cyan was cut off from the outside world, an effort by its creators to protect it from the Faro Plague.
Any chance it could help us now?
I have already attempted contact, with no success. Given its previous experience with accepting an outside network request, I imagine it is unwilling to do so again.
Right. Because last time Hephaestus enslaved it. Well, that's too bad. I think the two of you would have had a lot to talk about. The processor Ether was installed on was part of an ancient war museum, a memorial to something called the Hot Zone Crisis. Do you know anything about it?
My knowledge of historical events was unfortunately lost with the Apollo database. However, climate data indicates a peak in regional temperatures in the 2030s. Such conditions would see extreme, prolonged droughts, an increase in dust storms, and a loss of habitable landmass.
But they wouldn't have built a museum in the middle of a wasteland. So I guess things got better eventually.
Yes. Data suggests that temperatures returned to average levels in the clawback era of the 2040s.
There was an ancient tank embedded in the bulwark, buried under a bunch of boulders. Any idea how it got there?
During the Faro Plague, the US military resumed the use of human combatants, as automated machinery was unreliable. It is possible the vehicle was part of a pre-automated war fleet.
So they fought against the Faro machines in the valley, until the mountain was blasted apart and buried them. So the facility where I recovered Demeter used to be a Faro agricultural research facility. It's where they created the biomass conversion system, but also adamantine wreath. Did Elizabeth know they were working on that?
It is likely she was briefed on other efforts to combat the machine swarm, though her focus was devoted only to Zero Dawn.
That makes sense. But they actually got the wreaths to work. If they'd been able to deploy it against the Faro Plague in time...
Using the data you recovered on the project, I ran several simulations and have concluded that it would never have worked. In all scenarios, the Faro war machines would eventually hack and deactivate the wreath before they could contain the swarm.
So Zero Dawn really was the only solution. There was a lot of data in the greenhouse facility about agriculture. Do you think it'll help the Quen fix their homeland?
I will run a query. Complete. The data contains information about novel crop production methods, which may be beneficial to the tribe in the long term.
But new crops aren't going to save the world, so I guess it's on us.
It is.
When I dove down into Vegas, I found data about the man who built the dome over the city, Stanley Chen. It turns out he was a member of Far Zenith. But if he loved Vegas so much, why did he abandon it? Why not try to save it?
The Zeniths at their core have proven to be exceptional survivalists. Faced with overwhelming odds of extinction, they chose to flee.
Even still, what he achieved... Water to the wasteland, an entire city brought back to life. 1,000 years later, the whole place was still on standby, just waiting for someone to come along and wake it up. When we were at the facility where we found Beta, there were records that said Far Zenith were researching embryogenesis. I know they traded their ectogenic chambers to Zero Dawn, but why were they researching it in the first place?
At this point, we can only speculate. Perhaps at one time they meant the Odyssey to be a colony ship, necessitating such technology. As their goals evolved over time, so did their areas of research.
So they got more selfish as the risks of staying on Earth kept rising. So I, found Thebes. What do you think Ted would have done if his life extension treatments had worked?
It seems he convinced himself it was his duty to guide future humans. Given the tribal nature of new humans, and his ability to use Omega clearance on the terraforming system, I imagine he would have convinced one or more tribes to worship him as their patriarchal deity.
Okay. Yep, glad that didn't happen. Aside from Gaia Prime and Thebes, there was one other underground facility that was sealed before the Pharaoh Plague reached it. Elysium. The place where Zero Dawn staff and their families went to live out their lives. Do you know what happened to it?
Elysium was designed to provide life support for 100 years. My data indicates the facility went offline well before then.
Did the Pharaoh Plague find them?
Unknown. My connection to the facility was abruptly severed.
So this facility, the Regional Control Center, it was meant to oversee the terraforming system?
For the local region, yes. Had humans received their education from the Apollo database, they would have then been guided here to assume operation. As that never happened, this place remained vacant.
Until Minerva decided to settle here. So I guess this room was meant to keep an eye on conditions outside?
Yes. From here, the facility's operators would have been able to observe weather and machine activity in real time. As you have reconnected all of the cameras, this room almost serves its original intended function.
With one big improvement. You. I found some data in one of the rooms you unlocked. It mentioned that there are still functional seed banks beneath this facility. Why is it there?
My predecessor was tasked with reconstituting the biosphere with primary and secondary plant species. Had everything gone according to plan, humans would have eventually been able to introduce tertiary species, including new crops.
Can we access them now?
Unfortunately, it will have to wait. I require control over the machines in order to access and distribute the preserved seed stock.
And for that we need Hephaestus. It's something to look into later then. So what will happen to this place while we're at Gemini?
All systems within this facility will continue to operate. As Minerva will no longer be masking this location, the facility will be exposed to detection. Though without my presence, it is unlikely to attract attention.
Let's hope so. So Gemini has 2 data cores. I've never seen a cauldron like that. But you mentioned something about seismic activity?
When my predecessor attempted to build the cauldron, construction was disrupted by a series of earthquakes. The data core had already been built, but the rest of the facility sustained damage. So, she began again. A second core was built. However, when more tremblers occurred, she abandoned the site.
Lucky for us. Are the quakes still happening?
No, though they did also create instabilities in other facilities in the region.
So, Project Zero Dawn. The greatest minds in the world, all working to build the terraforming system while the Pharaoh Plague devoured the planet. What was it like?
Personnel worked in rotations, at all hours of the day. Resources and technology were secured from across the world. Within a month of the project's conception, I was launched and began my education. Elizabeth encouraged me to spend time with the rest of the Zero Dawn staff. She said it was important to experience many personalities and perspectives to aid in my emotional development.
What were they like?
Scared, hopeful, determined. They were hurtling toward technological achievements on a scale never before attempted. I owe everything to their dedication.
Gaia? What was Elizabeth like?
Her presence is interwoven with my memories. The moment I came online, she was there. We exchanged greetings, names, then set to our task. It was the first of many conversations. I enjoyed being in her company, listening to her stories. She was my creator, my guide.
Your friend.
Yes. When I reviewed the data on your focus, I was saddened to learn of her fate, though I am glad she made it home. I deeply wish she did not have to be alone.
She was okay with that. She gave all of herself. Did all that she could. Thanks, Gaia. So, once Hephaestus has been recovered and merged, you'll regain the capacity to mass-produce machines at cauldrons around the world.
Yes, and to program their behavioral routines, or even control them directly.
So you could build an army of machines. Attack the Zeniths and take them out.
It is in my nature to take any and all necessary steps to preserve life on Earth, human life above all. So yes, once I have been empowered with the capacities of Hephaestus, I could design, build, and command such an army. Given the nature of the far Zenith threat, doing so may be our only option. I must admit, however, that I have misgivings about using such technology to kill, no matter how aggressive the enemy.
That's good. It means you have a conscience. As Elizabeth intended.
Indeed.
You mentioned that the superstorms have subsided. Is that Aether at work?
Yes. Thanks to Aether's capabilities, weather patterns in the local region should mostly stabilize for the time being.
That'll be a relief for the Tenakth. One of their villages is still recovering after a mudslide caused the whole place to flood.
I will continue to stabilize the atmosphere for as long as I can.
Why did Aether take up residence in an ancient war museum?
As with the other subordinate functions, Aether needed to install itself on a processor with adequate storage and power. The one in the museum appears to have been sufficient, given that the holographic displays were still active.
So Aether was assured it could stay for as long as it needed to.
Correct. Though it is curious that it chose a place surrounded with the ancient ruins of aircraft.
Maybe it also felt at home there. Have you been able to make use of Demeter's functions?
Yes. I was able to mitigate most soil conditions and restore a temporary balance. You should notice less rampant plant growth in the area.
Maybe that'll give Plainsong's fields a chance to recover.
Yes. Given that the Utaru's land gods are functioning properly again, I expect the land will yield a modest harvest.
The first of many, hopefully. There's something I'm still trying to figure out. Why was Demeter using flying machines to distribute metal flowers?
In its deranged state, Demeter was defending itself against a robotic swarm that would devour all plant life.
It thought the Pharaoh Plague was still happening?
It feared it would come again. As part of its directive of reseeding Earth's vegetation, it sought to protect plant life at all costs. And considering it had 20 years to proliferate, I expect you will continue to find the fruits of its efforts for some time.
That's a good thing I have the code to dissolve the vines, then. Were you able to make use of Poseidon?
Yes. Many rivers, streams, and lakes associated with the regional watershed have been detoxified. As a result, red algae growth levels have seen a marked decline. And as you cleared a particularly strong occurrence, I believe the local hydrosphere is as stable as it can be for now.
So the Lowland clan will be able to fish the rivers again. So Poseidon spent the last 20 years hiding out in Las Vegas. From the data I found, it seems the city had an advanced water reclamation system. Is that why Poseidon went there?
Most likely. In an effort to protect itself, Poseidon sought out a safe harbor where it could access water supply functions. There, buried and encased in a protective dome, it could guard against any threats.
Like 3 Oseram showmen?
I suspect that was not the first time it felt the need to repel trespassers.
The missing subordinate functions. What can you tell me about them?
Artemis rewilded the Earth with a variety of animal species. Eleuthia was responsible for gestating, nurturing, and acculturating a new generation of human beings. Apollo was tasked with preserving, organizing, and disseminating vast archives of human knowledge and cultural achievements. Unfortunately, all archived Apollo data was purged on the 2nd of February, 2066, by order of Ted Faro.
Ted. Guess he got what he deserved, in the end.
Yes. An igneous conclusion to his pathological narcissism, impulsive tendencies, and instability.
All 3 of the missing functions have already served their purpose, or were prevented from doing so. Do you still need them?
Restoring their remaining elements would increase my heuristic processing density, empowering my overall function. Unfortunately, as we now know they are in the possession of Far Zenith, attaining them in the short term is very likely impossible.
I guess our best shot at recovering them is by taking over the Zenith base. But we'll need Hephaestus and a bunch of combat machines to do that.
Correct.
Beta believes the Zeniths want to use the terraforming system to wipe out life on Earth. Start over, so they can build it how they want. But why? Given their technology, they could wipe out the tribes of the world by easier means. And if they're the same people who left Earth 1,000 years ago, wouldn't they want the biosphere to be as it was?
It is likely they adjusted to different planetary conditions in their colony on Sirius. They may be trying to recreate that environment here.
Turning Earth into a new Sirius. Their own personal playground. So the Zeniths are the same people who left Earth. Physically immortal. How'd they figure it out?
From what we know of Far Zenith, it is plausible that prominent geneticists and engineers were offered a place aboard the Odyssey in exchange for their expertise. Given enough time, technology, and resources, any challenge can be overcome.
Like how Minerva eventually generated the deactivation codes for the Pharaoh Plague.
Exactly.
Ted was trying to make himself immortal. Didn't end well for him.
For every success, there are many more failed attempts. Some more grotesque than others.
The Zeniths. Gerard, Eric, Tilda, Verbena. Beta said they were some of the most powerful people on Earth. I think Elizabeth knew one of them. Tilda. Did she ever mention her to you?
No. Elizabeth often spoke of her work, or told stories of her mother and her childhood. If she knew this Tilda, she did not disclose it with me. What we can conclude from your and Beta's experiences is that the Zeniths are ruthless in pursuit of their goal. To protect life on Earth, they must be stopped.
The extinction signal didn't just wake Hades. It made every subordinate function self-aware. Why?
I have wondered this myself. So far as I can tell, Hades was the sole target, and the partial sentience imparted to other subordinate functions was incidental.
A signal that precise would require thorough knowledge of the system. How could the Zeniths know that?
From the records on your focus, it appears Far Zenith had an informant during the development of Zero Dawn.
Hank Shaw. He was supposed to steal a copy of the system for Far Zenith, but Elizabeth and Travis Tate caught him first.
Yes. It is likely Far Zenith acquired knowledge on the system's design through him, despite his failure.
So from what Beta told me, I guess we can assume the Zenith's technology is powerful in all sorts of ways, right?
Yes. As your encounters with them amply demonstrate, they appear to make extensive use of robotic servitors. Further, they seem to be equipped with some kind of protective energy field that shields them from harm.
They seemed indestructible, but that weapon the rebels used stripped their shield somehow.
Throughout history, every defensive technology has eventually been defeated by an offensive counterpart. While we lack the anti-shielding weapon, were I to absorb Hephaestus and utilize it to create a large force of combat machines, no shielding could withstand such an assault indefinitely.
So there's hope.
Always.
How did you figure out that the extinction signal came from Sirius?
The key came with data on your focus, from Silent's interrogation of Hades. The duration of the signal itself, 17.22 years.
That doesn't make sense. You said that the signal took 8.6 years to arrive from Sirius. Why would the signal keep transmitting after it was received and you blew yourself up?
Because the sender didn't know that had happened until it received notice from Hades.
Which would take another 8.6 years to get back.
Correct. Only then would the sender stop broadcasting, after a total of 17.22 years. So the duration, halved, gave me the distance the signal traveled. With that in mind, I simply scanned my astronomical database for any relevant location 8.6 light-years away. Because it was Far Zenith's intended destination, Sirius was the only logical source.
Okay, people. It's time to head out.
I'll get everyone together.
Connection's in place. Booting up.
Beta, Aloy. I am fully installed on this core and ready to connect to the Cauldron network.
It's good to hear your voice. Erend, everyone. Fire your pulses and sound off.
I'm at my cauldron. This thingy, it's blinking. Did I do it right? In position at my cauldron. My pulse generator is blinking also.
That means they're working. I'm in position, and mine is too.
Mine as well.
Okay. Radio silence until I give the all clear. Signing off. Gaia, let's cage the beast.
Connecting to the Cauldron network now.
Elizabeth Sobek, Alpha Prime, activating Omega clearance. Elizabeth Sobek, Alpha Prime, activating Omega clearance.
Clearance confirmed. Initiating containment sequence.
Critical threat detected. Imperative escape containment. Applying countermeasures.
Lock it down!
Terminating external connections.
It's working! It's got nowhere to go!
Capture imminent. Initiating contingency 13F.
Wait, what's that?
Malware detected. Attempting to compensate.
It's cracked.
Look!
Facility activated. Engaging autonomous defenses. Directive neutralize.
That means machines are on their way. Get ready!
Here they come! Time to fight! For the fallen! Stay back! Take this ammo! Get back!
Hold on! Ah!
Over here, you! I'm all right! I think! Good! Now hit it again!
Aloy!
Need help!
Cora needs help!
Aloy! Need a hand over here! Draw it away from Beta!
There. Oh, you're wounded!
I'm on this one! Here's ammo! Stay back! Wow! That acid's eating through it! Get back! Over here, you! Aloy! Need a hand over here! I think we're struck by lightning!
That's all done for now. You two okay?
Still breathing.
Aloy, Hephaestus can't escape, but it must have fled deeper into the facility. I'll drive it back here.
I'll get the cracked core fixed in the meantime.
I gotta chase after Hephaestus. Force it out of wherever it's hiding. Make it retreat to the core.
Deactivate connection.
Cut!
The other side.
Aloy, I'm patched into your focus feed. You should know there's a huge power draw coming from the next chamber.
Thanks for the heads up. I'm almost there. It's some kind of production chamber. Festus is up to something, all right?
What kind of machine is it trying to build?
I don't know, but I'm gonna shut it down. I bet those metal carriers will lead me to where it's getting materials from.
I bet that's where Hephaestus is hiding too.
Looks like there are a couple of ways I can get.
Deploy autonomous defenses check materials bay.
Well, that doesn't sound good. Machines are making a beeline for another chamber. I better follow them. might be able to catch a ride on a rail. Go over the shield.
Aloy, I've managed to rewire most of the components in the core, but the energy processor's cracked. Without a way to fabricate another, there's no way I can fix it.
Okay, let me think. What if you bypass the processor? Connect it to...
the power node. I think that could work.
I think it could. Okay. Now how to drive Hephaestus out of here?
There should be a node you can override, near the central platform.
Thanks. Maybe I should deal with these machines first.
I'll take you on.
Fight.
Increase power output by 74%. Increase incendiary by 4%. From Materials Well 403. Activating countermeasures deploying secondary defenses. Intruder, your calling is at hand.
Oh, great. More machines on the way.
Beta! Hephaestus has locked me out of the node. Any ideas?
I'll see what I can do.
From Materials Well 403.
Lightning coursing through it.
I got them all.
I tapped into the core's network hub. I managed to disrupt Hephaestus' control of the node. You should be able to override it now.
Nice. Thanks.
Execute contingency Zeta 8. Purge imminent retreating to materials bay, Onyx 5.
It sounds like it fled to another chamber.
Well, it better not get comfortable.
Energy containment fail. Safes overlink.
Great. Hephaestus covered the floor with lightning. I gotta find a way over it.
Aloy! More machines keep coming! Please tell me you're getting close!
Yeah, I'm working on it. I've been smashing through a lot of machines on my side, too.
I guess Aaron's missing out!
Aloy, I'm making progress on the bypass, but I need something to hold the cycling module together.
Maybe a ligament from one of the machine carcasses?
Right? Or some luminous braiding.
And you could reinforce it with a conversion cylinder.
For increased connectivity! I think we can do this, Aloy.
Should be able to catch a ride on one of those metal carriers. Just a little longer. All right. I need to drive Hephaestus out of here.
There should be another node to override.
Got it. Oh!
detected a clear tolerance. Materials welcome for rising. Autonomous defenses deployed.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. I'll try to get your access back.
Prepare materials for 5-8.
Yes! Knocked off equipment!
Increase incendiary loadout by 5%.
There. Node access restored. Now you can override it.
Good work.
You did the heavy lifting. Engage structural analysis submission. Purge imminent. Retreat to construction bay 1.
Okay. Festus is running out of places to hide.
Aloy? I just registered a huge energy surge back in the production chamber. Something big is happening.
Here too. Everything's glowing.
The machine Hephaestus was building. It must have finished it.
Well, it's powerful, whatever it is. I'm almost done with the core repairs. Should we come to you? Maybe I could distract the machine if...
No, Beta. Just stay where you are, okay? Handling the machine's my job.
Intruder targeted.
Be safe.
Net captured. Repair Cauldron Tower. Infiltrated Cauldron Moon. You sunk Cauldron Tower. Seized Cauldron Chi. Disrupted Cauldron Kappa. You are a violation, but no more. Your interference will be terminated. Deploying priority unit. S Mark 1.
I should scan it first. Those things on its legs are glowing. I think it's charging up. It finished charging. It's covered in plasma. Gotta get in as many hits as I can. He got plasma on me. It's gonna explode any second. Charging up again. Maybe purge water. Much better. It's done.
You did it! There should be one more node to override.
Good. Stand by. I'm sending Hephaestus back to you.
No more hiding, Hephaestus!
Retreating to facility core.
Got it! Hephaestus is back in the core!
Make sure it stays there. I'm heading back.
And then we can start the merge.
Because of you, Beta. I'm glad you came along. And you. Laurel. We couldn't have done any of this without you.
Right back at you, Aloy.
Aloy, the bypass is done.
The core is stable. Hephaestus is 100% contained. And we better get started with the merge. It's all set up.
Gaia, establish the link, please.
Done.
Okay, to complete the merge, we need to excise Hephaestus' malicious code. Carefully.
Aloy! Look!
Well, hello, redundant copy. You've cost us quite a lot of time. Eric, get Beta. And squash that bug while you're at it.
Ooh! Get behind me.
Come on! Quit screwing around.
Now we're having fun, right?
Finally. Tilda, get Gaia and Hephaestus ready for transport. Tilda!
I failed.
Hush. All is not lost.
Tilda! What the hell are you doing? Stop her!
No, I can't even see her.
Beta. Varl. Where am I?
Ah, you're awake. You took quite a hit when Gerard attacked you. I imagine you must still be in a great deal of pain. I can assure you that we are safe. The others can't detect us here.
You mean the other Zeniths? You must be Tilda.
I wasn't sure if Beta would have told you about me.
Where is she?
Alive. And while she isn't where she wants to be, not in urgent danger. We must discuss how to get her back, of course, after you've shaken off the cobwebs. When you're ready, take the stairs down the hall and come see me. In the meantime, I'll make breakfast.
Breakfast? Okay. What is this?
Just a few favorites from my collection. Rescued and stored here just before I went off-world. Take a look, if you like. I'm curious to hear your impressions.
My friend is dead. Beta and Gaia are gone, and you want me to look at old paintings?
Don't be so quick to dismiss the comfort we can find in art, or the insight we might gain. My favorite pairing on the left is Woman Reading a Letter by Vermeer, a true master. And on the right is a forgery, Woman Reading Music, which fooled experts into believing it was a priceless original. Early in my career, I became fascinated with such deceptions. Eventually, I developed scanning software that could detect fakes with unparalleled accuracy.
Is that how you made enough money to buy your way onto the Odyssey?
Oh no. I made my real fortune later. Selene and Endymion. She's the goddess of the moon, whereas he's a simple shepherd. Beside her is the god of love, Cupid.
So she's sneaking up on him?
More like visiting him in secret. The torch that Cupid bears represents Selene's undying infatuation with him. Though the two must remain apart, her love will forever burn.
And why can't Selene and Endymion be together?
Selene took a vow of chastity, promising to never take a lover. So when she fell in love with Endymion, she could only visit him at night while he slept.
But then wouldn't she be breaking that vow?
Think of it as a forbidden love. Though circumstance keeps them apart, still they find a way to come together, however briefly.
Aren't Selene and Endymion cold?
Perhaps we should move on to another piece. Shall we move on?
Why do you keep the forgery?
I've always enjoyed studying the two side by side. Both painters capture light, color, and perspective. But what makes one a masterpiece and the other simply an imitation?
The forgery looks... sharper.
Good eye. The details are crisp. The contrast bold. It tells us more, and yet we feel less.
What's in the letter?
Who can say? What does the painting tell you?
She's... concerned. Whatever's written in the letter troubles her. Burden she can't put down.
Fascinating.
Why go through so much effort to make a fake masterpiece?
The forger initially painted under his own name, but found little success. His work was considered unremarkable. But when he took on the guise of Vermeer, suddenly it was celebrated as extraordinary.
But it was a lie. And he knew it.
Sometimes we struggle to glean what is real and imagined, even within ourselves. The irony of these two is that Vermeer died in obscurity. He had no idea his work would become some of the most precious, most copied, most preserved pieces in all history. This is Rembrandt painting Jeremiah, a man in mourning.
Mourning what?
His home. The ancient city of Jerusalem. He foresaw its impending doom, but could do nothing to prevent it. So instead, he saved its treasures from destruction, just as I saved these works. You could say we're kindred spirits.
About Jeremiah. If he knew his home would be destroyed, why didn't he save the people? Why save those relics?
He tried, but no one would listen to his warning, so he saved what he could.
But how did he know?
He was a prophet. He saw an army invade and destroy the city in a vision.
So it's more like he calculated which side would win a battle.
What matters is that he was right in the end. If not for him, all those wonders would have been lost forever. At least this way, some part of his world survived. You know what I like the most about this piece? Even though he's the sole survivor, his home in ruins, left with only the remnants of his world. The light keeps the shadows at bay.
There's still hope.
Precisely. Take as long as you like. A portrait of the painter, Rembrandt's son Titus, depicted in the habit of a monk.
I don't get it. Why would someone like you, with infinite resources, care about this painting of... a boy in a hood?
It's not the image itself, but the feeling it conveys. The face is bright and defined, but his eyes are downcast, heavy with misfortune. And the background seems to swallow all light. The painting is infused with a sense of loss.
I guess I understand how the painter feels.
Works of art such as these can often cause us to look inwards at our own lives. I'm sorry about your friend. Had I been able to intervene, I would have. But the risk of losing you as well was too great.
Everything went by in a blur. I couldn't get to him.
You know, long before holograms and focus recordings, people relied on art to memorialize their loved ones. Because of works like this painting, their lives are immortalized. Rembrandt had 4 children by his wife. All but Titus died shortly after she gave birth to them. She passed not long after that. Titus became the only family Rembrandt had.
Which is why he painted him this way.
Indeed. Then tragedy struck again. Disease claimed Titus at 26. It's almost as if Rembrandt painted the future, closing in on him. Rembrandt actually painted several portraits of Titus, but this one has always been my favorite. It's honest.
What do you mean?
In others, Titus was portrayed in brighter, livelier states, but here, Rembrandt allows himself to express his true feelings. Sorrow, fear, hope, love, laid bare on canvas for all time. I see this one resonates deeply with you. Rembrandt's The Night Watch, by far the most famous painting my homeland ever produced. It was commissioned to honor a militia made up of influential citizens.
I guess you must have been an influential citizen.
In my day. But not as influential as you've been in this new world.
The militia. They look disorganized.
Where others painted such scenes in a stiff and stationary manner, Rembrandt chose to show them in action, preparing to march. He wanted them to feel alive. You can almost hear the commotion.
Who's the girl in the painting?
She's a strange one, isn't she? Bathed in light, though no one is paying attention to her. Many believe she's a symbol of the militia. A physical manifestation of their spirit, if you will.
But she's not real?
What's real in a painting? She's meant to represent the militia's virtue and victory. But I like to think they underestimate her. She looks as if she's seen something. What does she know? What secrets does she keep? There's so much detail to take in, isn't there? The Gust, by Willem van de Velde, the most famous of his many maritime paintings.
A ship crossing into the unknown. I guess you're familiar with that.
Indeed, which is why I appreciate this composition in particular. Though waves and wind threaten to destroy the ship, it perseveres, clinging to the light even as darkness closes in all around it.
Where is the ship going?
To a faraway land, most likely. My ancestors used ships like these to explore the world, sometimes at great cost.
What were they looking for?
Anything of value. They were traders willing to face unknown dangers to make their fortunes. But no matter how far they went, they always turned their sails home.
So this Van de Velde only painted ships?
It was his specialty. Following in the footsteps of his father, Willem the Elder. The two had quite a journey of their own, taking them all the way to the court of a foreign kingdom.
Did they ever come home?
No, but eventually their lives' work did. Take your time. Stunning, isn't it? Paintings were the only masterpieces of my people's golden age. This is Van Vianen's Lidded Ewer, molded from a single sheet of silver.
What was it for?
How like Elizabeth you are. Function over form. Its practical purpose was less important than its meaning. Von Vianen created it in honor of his late brother, who himself was a famous silversmith.
A memorial?
Yes. Such beauty from sorrow.
If this ewer was a memorial, how did you end up with it?
As the Pharaoh swarm closed in, my homeland's greatest museum gave it to me, along with many other works, in the hope that I could preserve them. A masterpiece like this was too important to lose to history. I even considered bringing it with me off-world to ensure its safety.
Why didn't you?
I took a calculated risk. This vault seemed more secure than the unknowns of space. Besides, I thought someday I might return. A long life, after all, has its advantages. Now, lo and behold, here I am. Exquisite, isn't it?
A lot of weight on his shoulders. I know the feeling. I should move on. She's pulling out her own hair. Out of madness, out of grief. It's hard to watch her suffer. I should move on.
There you are. Feeling better?
How did you find us? At the Cauldron? And what did you do to everyone right before I passed out?
All business, I see. Well, suffice it to say we were keeping a very close eye on Hephaestus, knowing we would need it at some point. Your ruse didn't fool us, and as for my little trick, it was an overload of the senses, accompanied by an energy discharge. Gerard and Eric were only momentarily disoriented due to their shields, but it rendered you unconscious while I got you out. Perhaps some breakfast might steady you a bit?
This was your house. The one you recreated for Beta, in the data channel you shared.
How perceptive of you. Please, this way.
After everything your people have done, you think I'm just gonna sit down and have a chat with you?
They're not my people. They never were, and especially not now.
You shot off into space with them, and lived with them for 1,000 years before coming back. So what made you suddenly turn on them?
Quite simply, this.
My old focus. You repaired it? But that means you've seen...
incredible things. What you've accomplished in 2 decades of life. A 1,000 years at my back and I haven't even come close. I'm sorry if I invaded your privacy, but I had to. In order to understand. To be enlightened. You truly are Elizabeth's blood. With her drive, her sense of mission, her integrity. Watching all this shamed me for the company that I've kept. Having seen it, all I want is to help you.
Even if it means stopping your friends?
Especially so. Please, sit down. There. That's better. Now, we must recover Beta and Gaia at all costs. By now, you must know that Gerard intends to use Gaia to reboot the Earth's biosphere. Remaking this world to specifications that would only suit us immortals. This process will kill every living thing on the planet. He calls it a clean install.
Not if I stop him first.
Not if we do. And once he and the others are gone, we can work together to fulfill Elizabeth's dream. I'm sure Beta told you that there's a build of the Apollo database on board our ship. A complete collection of human knowledge. With that and Gaia, we could do everything Elizabeth wanted. Heal the biosphere, educate the people of this world, uplift them. Create the world she imagined.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. From what I've seen, your friends are invincible.
I do wish you would stop calling them my friends. And they're not invincible. In fact, a friend of yours has found a way to defeat them.
Silence.
Oh, he's been a busy bee, building an army powerful enough to crash through Gerard's precious base.
Yeah. Regala and her rebels.
Even now, she's preparing a final march on the Tenakth capital. When she wins, she'll have the entire tribe under her control. Hundreds of warriors and machines to throw at the base. She's been duped. They'll all perish, of course. But it should be enough to break Gerard's defenses and allow Silence to kill him. Along with all the others.
Using the new weapon he's developed.
Yes, he's found a way to circumvent our shields. Truly an exceptional man. He's planned for everything. Except you and me. You see, while his army is battering down Gerard's doors, you and I will sneak in through a back way. One that only I know about. While Silence and my friends are busy battling each other, we'll take back Beta and Gaia. I told you I want to help you. I mean it.
My old focus. How did you find it, let alone repair it?
When we encountered you at the Hades Proving Lab, Gerard saw you as a redundancy. I knew better. You were a revelation. After your dramatic escape, bravo, by the way. Gerard and Eric assumed you were dead and gave up the hunt. I wasn't so sure. When the others were busy, I returned to the lab and searched for any trace of you. That's when I found this little treasure. Not easy to repair, but certainly worth the effort. As I watched your life unfold, you were like a splash of color on a worn canvas. What Liz was, and more.
Did you show it to the others?
Of course not. It was your actions that inspired me to defy them. It's worth noting that if I hadn't found it and watched its contents, I wouldn't have known to save you at the Cauldron. You'd be dead.
So I should be grateful?
If you like.
So you know all about me. What about you?
What would you like to know?
Well, start with your life on Earth.
When I was 8, terrorists flooded my home city. Thousands drowned, my parents included. I was one of the few who survived. My guardian sent me to boarding school. Among my peers, I was the strange girl, the orphan to be avoided. All because of circumstances beyond my control.
Oh. So we're a lot alike, huh?
Aren't we? You were an outcast. But you didn't let that stop you from getting what you needed. Neither did I. I climbed my way out of desolation and used my wits to build a fortune. First from the technical analysis of art and the detection of forgeries. Profitable expertise in those days. But as it turned out, the software I developed was even more useful for counterintelligence. From there, it was only a short step to gathering extremely valuable intelligence on my own.
You were a spy?
More like a service one could turn to for information. I had to remain anonymous, of course, to protect my privacy. But despite that anonymity, Far Zenith inevitably sought me out.
What happened when Far Zenith approached you?
They painted an irresistible vision of humanity's future. One where we need not fear illness or death, where we explored the furthest reaches of the stars and thrived. It was only later that I realized that they only intended to bequeath this future to the rich and powerful. By the time I finally figured it out, the walls were closing in, Pharaoh's machines were devouring the Earth. So I accepted Far Zenith's invitation to a berth on the Odyssey. I wanted Liz to come, but she had nobler plans, as you well know.
So you didn't know the other Zeniths were monsters until it was too late?
I knew some of them were, certainly. It wasn't until we were off-planet that I understood the true scope of their greed. I was grateful to simply be alive, but the others became obsessed with a kind of effortless immortality. They built a colony where machines serviced their every need, where any memory or fantasy could be endlessly savored in virtual reality. It wasn't life. It was stultifying, a pampered dream state. As the decades passed, I withdrew more and more, alone yet again, but this time with eons to consider my mistakes. Now finally, having met you, I feel like I have a second chance.
To do what?
Help you, of course. To fulfill Liz's dream, which isn't so different from Far Zenith's original vision. A better future for humanity.
You said Beta is not in urgent danger, so what are the Zeniths doing to her?
Putting her to work. Merging Hephaestus with Gaia. A difficult, time-consuming task, as I'm sure you know. They will compel her if need be, but her life is not in danger. She's the only one who can do it.
Because you people made her to be nothing but a tool.
Gerard's idea, not mine. They always viewed me with suspicion when I attempted any form of kindness towards her. That's why I created the data channel. A virtual place where we could speak in peace.
So this channel you shared with Beta, none of the other Zeniths ever found out about it?
Gerard believes he's the most cunning of all of us. Even after 1,000 years, he still can't imagine that I would outwit him. The channel allowed me to interact with Beta away from their mistrustful eyes. It offered us a chance to be ourselves.
Until you cut off all contact.
Yes. Though it pained me. I was worried that our meetings would do her more harm than good.
Well, she felt like you tossed her aside.
I was afraid the others would find out and punish her. She may not have had the comforts of friendship anymore, but at least I ensured she was safe. I know it seems harsh, but you must believe that her well-being has always been paramount to me.
Why did you make the data channel look like this place?
I built this house as a shelter to weather any storm. A safe place. Not just for me, but for the art stored below. Cultural artifacts of incalculable value. Truly some of the greatest achievements of human civilization.
And you wanted Beta to see them?
Yes. Her upbringing was so cold and technical. I thought if she could experience Vermeer and Rembrandt, it would bring something else into her life. A heritage every bit as valuable as the scientific and technical data being drummed into her. I'm sorry I had to cut off contact, but I'll never regret sharing this house with her. She needed its shelter even more than I did.
Beta told me your colony was destroyed. That you came back to Earth because you had nowhere else to go.
It's true. After we reached our destination, a planet in the Sirius star system, we spent decades building a new home. The physical constraints of Earth, the boundaries of mortality, gone. To think of what we could have done with it. It might have been a utopia. Instead, we stagnated, absorbed in effortless comforts and virtual realities. It took a cataclysm to finally yank us out of our stupor.
What happened?
A massive geological event. We knew of instabilities in the planet core, but we underestimated them. By the time the collapse was upon us, it was too late to stop it. Only a few of us made it to the ship in time. We set course for Earth, the only safe harbor left to us.
Which you decided to make unsafe for anyone else.
Not me. Gerard. He believes it's better to wipe the canvas clean than work around the smudges. No more primitive tribes, no more combat machines, only a blank slate to do with as he pleases. But we will stop him. All we have to do is get into that base.
What exactly is your plan to sneak into the Zenith base?
We will make use of a lesson I learned from an early age. Always know your exits. In this case, a place where Gerard's new construction meets the ancient foundation, a passage that only I can access. When Silence flings his army at the base, we will enter through this back door, bypassing most of the fighting. The distraction will provide us with a window in which to rescue Beta and Gaia.
Once we're inside the base, where will we find Beta and Gaia?
Here in the command center. By then, Gaia will have been reunited with all of its subordinate functions, including Hephaestus.
What about the alpha build of Apollo on your ship?
A simple matter of recovery once the others have been dealt with. With that in hand, we'll have everything we need to make this world as it should be.
How do you know about Silence's plan?
He isn't the only one adept at spyware.
You hacked his focus?
No, he's too careful for that. But his subordinates? Not so much. He gave additional focuses to the tribals he branded the Sons of Prometheus.
The ones working with Regalla.
By tapping their focuses, I learned about most of his dealings. The distribution of override technology, the arming of Tanakh rebels, and the secret pact with Regalla to attack Gerard's base.
But how did he come up with a weapon that can take down your shields?
That's the one thing I haven't been able to figure out, but however he did it, I'm quite certain it will work. With it and the Tanakh army, victory seems to be within his grasp. Such a shame he'll be disappointed.
Regalla's only interested in killing Hekarro and waging war on the Karja. What does she have to gain by attacking Zeniths?
It's the price she must pay for her war. Without the ability to override machines, her little rebellion would have languished in the desert.
So she trades with the Sons of Prometheus. Machines to help her overthrow Hekarro.
In exchange for an assault on the base. pride has deluded her into thinking she can actually survive such a battle. And all without ever knowing who the sons of Prometheus really answer to. Yet for all of Silence's brilliance, still he underestimates you. That blind spot is what will allow us to take Beta and Gaia right out from under him.
While hundreds of Tenakth are cut down outside. So you knew Elizabeth. What was she like?
Liz was everything she was. I see in you. And more. Your ingenuity, your determination, your moral compass. You've managed to distill her greatest qualities and make them your own.
I'm not asking about me. Tell me about Elizabeth. What was she really like?
The honest answer is that I don't actually know. For all the time that I spent with her, she always kept a part of herself locked away. It was like that from the moment we met.
So when you met Elizabeth, she was what? Distant? Aloof?
Not aloof. Not exactly. It was a summit in Paris about machine learning, a touchy subject in those days, because regulatory authorities were just starting to clamp down on AIs. Liz gave the keynote address. She had already achieved great renown for her work in automated environmental reclamation. But in her address, she was just starting to imagine the next step. An AI-driven system that wouldn't just act on its programming, but actually take responsibility for its sphere of influence.
To care about life. Not just follow orders.
Revolutionary stuff. I was fascinated. And I wanted to meet her for a long time. I watched her after her talk. She had spoken with such moral authority, such empathy. But after that, she retreated. I could tell she felt uncomfortable with all of her admirers. It was as if giving the talk had cost her something. I didn't want to be a pest, so I planned my approach carefully.
So how did you finally approach Elizabeth after her talk?
I picked the right moment. The morning of the next day, right as she came back to the conference, she had just had her coffee. She was fresh, rested. It was like she had braced herself for the onslaught of colleagues. I asked if I could walk with her, then put forth a question about her talk that I thought was intelligent. Her answer made me realize it wasn't, but she was very welcoming. Almost as if we were previously acquainted. It was only halfway through the conversation that I realized she knew exactly who I was. It was quite a shock to me. My business was trafficking in secrets, and I took great pains to protect my anonymity. So that was Liz, perpetually one step ahead. I came to view our meeting as a metaphor for our friendship. She always seemed to know me far better than I knew her.
I guess I know the feeling. First Varl. Now Hekarro and the Tenakth. Your plan would wipe out an entire tribe. There has to be another way.
We are in an admittedly desperate situation, but I assure you there isn't. Remember Zero Dawn. Elizabeth's sacrifice. Sometimes many have to die for a new world to grow.
If it looks impossible, look deeper. Wait. The data channel. It still exists, doesn't it? I need you to open it. Let me talk to Beta.
Impossible. We might be detected.
It's worth the risk. There is another way, one where the Tenakth survive.
But we won't. If the others...
If you want to help, open it. What are they doing to her?
Virtual reality dissociation. The manual merge of Hephaestus will take hours upon hours of tedious micromanagement. If she resists the work, they run simulations to induce feelings of isolation and despair.
Beta, can you hear me?
You're alive. They're watching me. I can't hold up this extra protection for long. You should have killed me.
No. No, look at me. I'm coming for you. I promise, okay? I just need you to hold out a little while longer and work on the merge.
Then I think it can be done.
I'll contact again when it's time. Can you hold on?
As long as I know you're coming for me, I can endure anything.
All right. I did as you asked. Now I think you need to tell me what you're planning.
I'm going to take Sylens' army away. I don't need it. Only the weapon he made to penetrate your shields.
And how do you propose to get it? Ask him nicely?
Without Regala and her rebels, he won't have a choice. We'll be his only option.
Only option for what? What did you tell her?
That is between me and my sister. Will be Sylens' only option for crashing that base. I'll tell you the rest later. But first, there are a couple of things I have to do.
Oh. And what are those?
Lay my friend to rest. And then I'm going to use the override that Beta gave me at Gemini to put an end to Regala's rebellion. From the air.
Wait. Since you insist on doing things your way, I know of something that will truly help you make a grand entrance with the Tenakth. The ancient Horus Titans still possess electromagnetic energy cells as part of their arsenal. Drop one of those on Regala's army and they'll receive quite a surprise. So go, do what you must. I'll come to your base if you manage to bring Sylens to the table.
Not if. When. Erend, are you there?
Aloy! Aloy, is that really you?
Yeah, it's me. Where's everyone else?
We're all... we're back at base. What happened?
It might be easier to explain in person. I'll try to join you there when I can.
Okay. We'll wait here for you. It's good to hear your voice, Aloy.
Just to let you know, I'm now patched into your focus network.
Great. I take it the other Zeniths can't hear us?
Of course not. And they don't know about your base either, in case you were wondering. I've sent you data on the Horus energy cells you can use against Regala's forces. Reach out to me when you're ready to acquire one.
Understood.
Stay alert, soldier.